TMMi stands for Test Maturity Model Integration. It's a public domain, in other words free to use, reference model for test process improvement. It was developed by the TMMi Foundation and launched in 2005. It incorporates many useful elements of existing maturity models and draws on expertise from a wide range of testing professionals. It covers in quite an amount of detail all test-related quality activities. It addresses current needs and trends, and as part of this, applies to all software development life cycles, including Agile. It provides a common standard for test process improvement and for assessment, usable by the international community. Note that TMMi itself is not a standalone test process. It's more of a set of practices that an organisation could be expected to implement in order to achieve formalised levels of test excellence. It's up to individual organisations to implement those practices in ways that are suitable to their own particular circumstances and context. TMMi uses the concept of maturity levels to allow organisations to improve their test processes methodically and to obtain certification to demonstrate achieving an appropriate degree of testing excellence. There are 5 levels, starting with the lowest, level 1, and progressing through increasing maturity to level 5. Each TMMi maturity level, except for the first, contains several process areas. These process areas describe the procedures that are expected to be conducted by the test organisation to demonstrate good testing practice. At TMMi Level 1, the initial level, processes tend to be chaotic, are generally poorly defined, and can fail under pressure. Testing tends to be a development activity rather than being carried out by a separate testing team, and where there is a dedicated test function, the activities are more similar to a debugging process rather than to true testing. The benefits of being at level 1 of TMMi are few, and the only thing you can really say about it is that everyone gets TMMi level 1. It's automatically achieved. But I'm afraid the TMMi Foundation won't provide you with a certificate for that. At TMMi Level 2, the managed level, testing processes are now separate from development activities. They are purposefully managed, and they generally cover multiple levels of testing. Although testing may not be standardized across the organization, testing practices are generally retained from one project to the next. Some metrics may be defined, but they tend to be minimal and sufficient only for the basic purposes of individual projects. Product risk, though, is considered an important factor in deciding what to test and how to test it. The benefits of achieving TMMi Level 2 include that processes are now maintained in times of stress. There is some documentation, such as an organizational test policy and test strategy, that may be applied to more than one project. It's not compulsory, though, that individual projects follow precisely the same process. Some metrics are available to help with monitoring and control of software quality and the test process itself. Product risk is used to inform and direct the testing, leading to lower costs, more targets achieved, and a lower exposure to risks in production. At TMMi Level 3, the defined level, testing is fully documented. It's standardized and consistently followed across the organization, with early integration into the development lifecycle. The test organization is now more independent. It's formally defined and closely managed. Peer reviews are considered a fundamental part of the test process, and rigorous non-functional testing is performed according to a defined process. Strategic test training takes place, and the test processes are improved, if only occasionally. The benefits of achieving TMMi Level 3 include that the consistency of process leads to standard reports with a greater ability to compare results across projects. Processes are easier to apply, and movement of staff across projects and induction of new staff is easier because all processes are defined to a high level of detail. The application of peer reviews reduces rework and costs by identifying defects earlier in the life cycle. Thorough non-functional testing further reduces the risk that issues will appear in production. Independence of the test organisation allows an unbiased view of product quality and provides a fresh set of eyes on the requirements, generating new ideas about how they should be tested. This should lead to more defects being uncovered during various test levels. Test planning is carried out early in the project lifecycle, even as early as the requirements phase, and the creation of a master test plan provides an overview of all levels of testing to be conducted, again reducing the risk of unforeseen issues. At TMMi Level 4, the measured level, testing is now a thoroughly defined, well-founded and measurable process. Testing is perceived more as evaluation of software and associated work products rather than just finding some defects. An organisation-wide test measurement program will be in place, giving a view of product quality and associated work products in quantitative terms. And project test approaches are optimised by taking into account the results of peer reviews, which are used as a quality measurement technique. The benefits of achieving compliance at TMMi Level 4 include that well-defined and analysed metrics are now available to inform and direct the testing, to help improve product quality across all test levels. Metrics now much better support decision-making and enable predictions to be made relating to the product quality, which can be managed to achieve predefined project objectives. There's coordination now between static testing, in other words reviews, and the dynamic testing, whether it be functional or non-functional, and at whatever test level. The results of reviews are fed back into the test process to make the test approach more effective and efficient for specific projects and for the test organisation overall. Finally, more detailed and useful reports can be made available at different levels of detail, being targeted variously at testers, test and project managers, and senior management. Here are just a couple of examples of reports that might be expected to be produced by a TMMi Level 4 test organisation. The one on the left shows the progress of test case execution in system test, and the one on the right shows the progress of the cumulative test effort expended, with individual variances from an expected baseline. One of the common themes with reports coming from a TMMi Level 4 organisation is the existence of what is represented here by the blue dotted lines, the planned values. In other words, what we expect to achieve. In the graph on the left, we expected all 350 unique test cases to be run and passed by the 4th of August. You can see that this wasn't quite achieved. All were run, but only about 330 passed, indicated by the green line. What we can say, though, is that this was predicted by the black line, and thus the residual risk in the product could be mitigated in time. In the graph on the right, it was planned to use about 950 person-days of effort by the end of October, but you can see that the project went over budget from when things started to go wrong in April. However, because we could see the divergence from the planned spend, it was possible to apply for additional budget and well in time before it was needed. The ability to show trends and to predict what may happen is a useful feature of reports coming from a test measurement program introduced at TMMi Level 4. Another capability arising from the implementation of an organization-wide test measurement program is to be able to identify where and when defects are introduced into a product, and to pinpoint in what level of testing they are eventually discovered. This report shows just such information and is a capability directly relating to the implementation of a well-designed test measurement process. The report shows clearly how efficient or otherwise a process is at detecting and removing bugs from the software under test. An organization achieving TMMi Level 5, optimization, is capable of continually improving their test function. Testing methods and techniques are constantly being optimized, and reuse of test assets is formally implemented. At Level 5, test metrics now include those relating to process efficiency and effectiveness, not just product quality, and the objective of testing moves from mere defect detection to defect prevention. The benefits of achieving TMMi Level 5 include that metrics are now available relating to the test process itself, indicating how the process efficiency and effectiveness changes over time. The organization continually and incrementally improves testing based on a quantitative understanding of statistically controlled processes. The change of focus from simple defect detection to defect prevention increases both the effectiveness and the efficiency of the whole development process, lowering overall resource usage and helping to ensure that time targets are achieved. And because metrics now include those relating to defect prevention and to the test process itself, reports can be made available to senior management for them to monitor costs and to help identify actions to reduce them. Here's an example of one of the reports that could be made available after implementing TMMi Level 5. This shows the number of defects identified throughout a project at the various testing levels, starting from reviews, moving through component test, and ending with those found during the production warranty period. I won't go into great detail about this report, but in summary, it shows that by applying techniques applicable to TMMi Levels 4 and 5, including peer reviews at an early stage of the development lifecycle, and the implementation of a defect prevention process, the total cost of dealing with defects over the project lifetime is reduced. In this specific case, from 7.8 million to 5.3 million, a direct cost saving of over 30% along with the associated time savings. So why should anyone use TMMi? And if they do, why should they wish to achieve TMMi Level 5 and not stop at Level 3 or 4? We've already seen some of the benefits, but to sum up, TMMi is an independent model administered by the not-for-profit TMMi Foundation, and it's the de facto international standard for measuring test maturity. It integrates best practices from many quality models and is underpinned by risk management, monitoring and control. TMMi addresses all test levels, all lifecycle methodologies and all types of software application. It's also tool agnostic. It helps your organization perform testing in a more structured, efficient and effective way, reducing waste by helping to prevent unnecessary rework. It also moves organizations from simple defect detection to defect prevention, and in the process saves time, reduces costs, and minimizes exposure to risk, helping to create applications that more fully meet users' expectations.